Yo, party more, everybody up there with us. Let's go, fire me,
Been teaching them instead of handing them a freaking packet, yo. There's kids in here who don't learn like that. They need to learn face to face.
If you guys can't guess by now, I'm Jamaican. So this means I attended a Jamaican school for the majority of my life. But at the ripe age of 15, I departed and came to Toronto, Canada. And as someone who watched a lot of North American media, I had a pretty good insight into this country. But it comes to no surprise that I was wrong. And I couldn't be more wrong than when it comes to high school. Alright, to be fair, High School Musical might not have been the best possible choice to analyze international school. But I digress. Today, we're talking about my experience going from a Jamaican to a Canadian high school, the differences, the positive, the negative, and all the shenanigans that took place. Yeah, the first day was when I really got to see the difference. I'll be honest, when I came, I was excited because I finally escaped the shackles of going to an all-boys school. This was a moment to finally be surrounded by some pretty girls. Yo, I was expecting to see some Tori Vega, Jade, Kat, Trina, Zoe, Carly, and Sam. But kids don't believe everything you see on TV. Anyways, I'm getting off track, yo. I wake up early, and I really never had to because Canadian school started later than a Playboy Carti concert, and my apartment was closer than the Krusty Krab on the chum bucket.
Meanwhile,
in Jamaica, I had to wake up earlier than Aston Hall just to barely arrive on time. Yo, when I walked inside the Canadian school, it felt like I entered a museum. Yo, clean hallways, lockers on each side, and trophies on the wall. Yo, I felt like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air walking into the Banks mansion. But then, I had to go to the office to choose my courses, and this took so long. Yo, it made me miss Jamaican school. In Jamaica, you would just show up to your form class and the teacher would just walk in, and that's how you know what subject you're doing. Yo, after finally picking my courses, I went to my first class and I had no idea where the hell I was going. I was in the hallways lost like Zorro. Yo, I asked the hall monitors for direction and this one made me travel across the entire world like I show speed. Yo, so I finally came to my class and I was half an hour late. Yo, I sat down beside this one boy. I was going to sit beside him for the entire semester, so I introduced myself to him and I made the biggest mistake of my life. Yo, I told him I was Jamaican. Yo, before I tell you what happened, what do you think this boy looked like? Was he A, Caucasian, B, Indian, C, African American, D, Asian? This boy was whiter than Seamus. Yo, before I uttered a single sentence, yo, he treated me like a regular guy. But once he heard I was Jamaican, he said this: "Me bumbo clot, wagwan brethren, me never did pre that." Yo, and it wasn't as fluent as I said it. It sounded like this.
still no devil, no dopey. Everything gonna be irie.
Yo, I dead-ass stared at him. Yo, I couldn't believe what I heard him say. It's not like I could talk to anyone else because all the students were glued to their phones. Yo, these people were attached to their phones like the Matrix. Yo, if this was Jamaican high school and the teacher saw you on the phone while they were teaching, they would start screaming louder than Benson. But in Canadian school, teachers just kept teaching while only 3 people were actually listening. Yo, speaking of teachers, the difference between them were day and night. Yo, back in Jamaica, there was this one kid. We'll call him Kyle. Yo, he was an even bigger troublemaker than Dennis the Menace. Yo, one day, he called the teacher by his first name. The teacher instantly came out of his chair and started screaming at him. In this country, there was this one time that a kid walked into the class and started playing NBA Youngboy music on full volume with a JBL speaker. Yo, the teacher told him to turn off the music, and he responded by saying, "Suck my dick, bitch ass nigga. I don't have to listen to you." Yo, you would expect the teacher to start blowing smoke from his head like Majin Buu. Nope, he never even said anything. Canadian teachers are nicer, but knowing how much money they get paid, I do the same thing. In Jamaica, the students were pretty one-dimensional. You had the football players, the track athletes, the school thought, the nerds, the teacher's pet. But Canadian school had more dimensions than a Rubik cube. You had the emo kids dyeing their hair every single color of the rainbow like they're trying to find the Lucky Charms. The goth kids who had more metal on their body than Tony Stark. The hot cheetah girls, school thoughts, nerds, hood kids who thought they were in 4K or OTF. The kids that play sports are still the most popular, except now it was basketball and volleyball. And in Jamaica, I only knew how to play football, so I was putting up Tony Shell type of performances in gym class. Yo, high school started in grade 7 in Jamaica, while for Canadian school, it started in grade 9. In this country, all you need is enough credits to move on to the next grade, but in Jamaica, we only had to keep our averages high enough to move on to the next grade. The Canadian test was so easy. You would have thought I was Albert Einstein or Socrates, but these people would still end up failing every single class. Yo, I remember there was this one kid in my English class who only came for the vibes. Yo, this guy had a 5%, and the only thing he had to do was a few assignments. Yo, don't even get me started about the people who failed gym class. Yo, these people should count themselves lucky that they never had to go to high school in Jamaica. Yo, I was doing 16 subjects in grade 7, and to this day, I'm glad I never went into grade 11 in Jamaica, because CXC would bust my brain. In Jamaican high school, uniforms were mandatory. Khaki pants, shirt, tie, school crest, black or brown leather shoes, and matching socks. And don't think you can cheat it. The dean of discipline would check every single fiber of clothing before you walked inside the school. Yo, Jamaicans don't fear much. But you see, when kids see the dean of discipline, they start running for their life like they're getting chased by Pennywise. Yo, if they caught you, then they would send you home, call their parents, and you might get suspended. If you had too much hair on your head, this was the equivalent of committing a war crime. The dean wanted everyone to have the Little Bill, Charlie Brown, and Gideon specialty. Alright, I understand why Jamaican schools have a dress code. They're trying to instill discipline, but at this point, they're doing way too much. But you see over here, there was no dress code. At first, I love it. Then after 2 weeks, I missed wearing a uniform. Yo, at least in Jamaica, no one was flexing like it was a Met Gala. The most abysmal and appalling difference was the school lunch. Yo, Jamaican school food had me levitating in the air. When that lunch bell rang, everyone would start running like a 100-meter race. But for Canadian lunch, it was free, and it tasted like something that Plankton cooked in the chum bucket. So the majority of the students who went to Canadian high school, they would go to the mall and buy fast food like McDonald's, Popeyes, and Kentucky Fried Chicken. And they weren't buying junior combos, they were buying Big Mac and 4-piece combo. Yo, they would abuse it to the point they started looking like Lizzo and Nick Avocado. Yo, the concept of leaving school whenever we feel like it perplexes me. In Jamaica, the only way you can leave the school is dismissal. Yo, but the man them who attended my school were better with tight spaces than Lionel Messi, because they would somehow slip through the gate and come back inside before lunchtime ended. Alright, I think that's gonna be it for this video. This is kind of a different video than my regular video. You know, to start off the new year, I have to try something different. If you want more videos like this to go more in depth into Jamaican or, you know, my experiences, y'all can tell me in the comment section below. Anyways, that's it. I love y'all. I'm out.